Hi, welcome back to the podcast. I'm Lyssa.
And I'm Renee. We're your right-hand gals. And I think we should start off the podcast by saying Lyssa is drinking out of a Stanley cup right now.
Yeah, if you're watching on YouTube, this cup is larger than my head, and I was heavily influenced. Actually, okay, can I just give a shout out to my photographer and friend, Brenna Lee Photo, because she had this cup, and I had seen it from everybody and their mom.
Everyone.
But when she posted it, I was like, well, if Brenna swears by it, like, she's out there on shoots all the time, like, that's probably the best testimony to this cup. So when it came back in stock, I was like, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to pull the trigger. And I love it.
I have yet to get one. And every time I see it, I'm like, I could see myself drinking like lemon water. Because if you know me, I only drink lemon water. It's my favorite beverage, I would say.
Yeah.
Coffee, lemon water, done. And I can totally see myself having that huge cup all day. But I like can't get myself to purchase it. Well, one, because it's $50.
I think it's $40.
Oh,
but it's pricey for a cup.
Maybe it was shipping. I don't know.
Yeah, probably.
Whenever I saw it was $50, and I was like, ugh. Would I pay $50 for it? Yes, but
yeah, 100%.
Would my husband be so annoyed with me? Also,
probably.
Yes. Well, okay. Back to like the actual podcast thing. I'm sure everyone truly relates to the Stanley Cup debacle. But curious, how are you feeling after episode 1?
I'm so excited. Like, the fact that one is, like, done and we did it.
Yeah.
I feel like I can breathe.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, like, we did it, and it's only uphill from here. Like, we only have more fun episodes ahead. We got, like, the most nerve-wracking one out of the way.
Oh, my gosh. Like, should we just tell people that was our second take of the episode because the first one was just so bad.
It was, just think back to, like, your first public speaking class.
Oh, God.
Where, like, the whole room is a bundle of nerves. And then you have to get up there and talk. And you're a bundle of nerves. That was us. But we did it. And I don't know about you, but I feel fine.
I feel a lot better now. I mean, I feel like now I'm just talking to my friend, which is really... I mean, why we did this.
This is how we started. Like, this is how our friendship started. We would just FaceTime each other, and I think you were, like, cooking dinner half the time, and, like,
well,
we were
because
just hanging out.
We live obviously not in the same state, and I'm 2 hours ahead.
Yeah.
So it's, like, pitch black out, and I'm FaceTiming you, and it's, like, sunny and beautiful in L.A., with your lemon trees and your citrus trees. And it's like, it's cold. And there are bachelorettes driving outside my house. That's how it is in Nashville all the time. I feel like.
And snow. You guys have been cold over there.
The weather. I mean, we'll get back to the podcast. But the weather, if you live in Nashville, I'm so sorry. We're both
I'm sorry
having to deal with this. Weather is awful. I'm so ready for spring. I'm so ready for the summer. I thrive in the heat. I love it.
Can I just tell you that yesterday it was 90 degrees?
I'm happy for you, truly. Happy for you, and I'm ready to move on.
Okay, great.
But I agree. First episode definitely had the jitters. I don't know. I blacked out. I don't even remember like what we talked about. And so I'm glad that we're kind of redeeming ourselves with this one a little bit. And we had some feedback where people wanted to know more about our jobs and how we got into them.
We had touched a little bit on it in that first episode. So we thought we would take this episode to dive a little bit deeper on how we got these jobs, why we are in the industry still currently, as of right now. So I think, Renee, if you want to start. Yeah. I don't even think I know this story, so please.
I know, that's kind of like the funny part of all of this is it's kind of all a new, like, funny story. But kind of like what I talked about in episode 1 is during quarantine, like the very, very beginning of quarantine, I met my neighbor. Long story short, she introduced me to 2 ladies that own an agency here in Nashville. I interviewed with them. thought I did really well, but also thought the lady hated me. She didn't, which is, thank God. She didn't hate me. She introduced me to an influencer that I work with today. And then when I got that email, I kind of touched on this in the first one too, but I really didn't even know what this job meant. So I mean, like I said, I Googled it, nothing came up. I searched on YouTube what a typical day was like. Nothing really came up except for like some sort of what am I trying to say? A social media manager position came up, but that really wasn't like what I was doing or what I would be doing. It was very much like in a personal assistant role, which was great to me. I mean, some people kind of view it as a negative because they say, oh, well, aren't you tired of like just, wouldn't you hate being like told what to do all the time? It's like, not really. It really just depends on like how you look at it. So then I reached out to Lyssa. She told me a little bit about like what she does. And I was thinking, oh, that kind of sounds cool. So then I interviewed with the influencer that I work with. And we just really, like how I knew it was going well is we just clicked. It was really easy to have conversation. We both kind of had zero expectations because I had never worked in the industry. She had never had an employee. So it felt like there were no like stakes, like zero stakes, you know?
Yeah.
Where it was just like, I wasn't nervous because I hadn't lost anything or I didn't think I could lose anything. It was just like an opportunity. And so that's why I feel like it kind of worked and that why I wasn't so nervous in that interview because, I mean, especially 2 years ago, I was so nervous to talk to people. It was so hard to have a conversation. And now, like 2 years ago, if you would have told me, oh, you're going to have a podcast with your friend, I'd be like, that's a sick joke. Like, why would you even say that?
Same.
It was so hard. I was just so nervous to talk about anything. So whenever it was really easy to talk to her, I just knew it just felt right. Something just felt like, oh, we can create something or I can help her create something like so awesome. And I love that. I love supporting and cheering people on. And it's just such a cool way to be a part of their story is being that person that's always just been consistently there for them. And so that's how I thought the role was going to go. And so I started out as a personal assistant and pretty quickly moved up in that role just because I constantly need to do something like all the time. Like I love just doing stuff and being busy. And I laugh because I really thrive in chaos. I was a gymnast growing up. So the pressure is just, I need the pressure. I'm a procrastinator at heart. So like, you know, shout out to all you procrastinators. You're going to get somewhere in life. And then I really just started making like a job description for myself in a way too. Like obviously they would give me things to do, but once I was finished, I would kind of like try to dig deeper or be like, pull up analytics and like build graphs for myself because I like doing that. And they didn't necessarily ask me to do it or even want it. But at the end of the day, I loved emailing and sending them like, look how much we've grown in like 2 weeks. Like, isn't this so cool? Like, I need numbers. And so that's why it really worked for me. And that's why I'm now, and you guys, I remember what my job title is this week. And I'm really proud of myself.
Renee, please tell us, what is your official job title?
I am the director of social media and branding, and which we can dive into that another time too and like really share. I feel like that's really what this podcast is going to be is like share what we do week from week. But that's my job title, but I still feel like there's just so many different hats that I wear and that's why it works.
Yeah.
But so I started off as a personal assistant. I still do some like personal assistant things.
Totally.
Because there are only 3 4 people on our team, and it's a close-knit family situation where no job is too small for me. Like, we're all a team. We all have the same goals, and that's why it's so cool to me. And before I had the job, which, Lyssa, I don't know if you know, before I had the job, like in school, I just always remember thinking, like, I want to work in business. I love women in business. I think I'm so passionate about it. If my life had a For You page, it would just be a bunch of women in business. Like, I just, I just love seeing women succeed. And when I thought about my life, I knew I wanted to do something in business, but I didn't want to sit at a desk with a pantsuit, go to meetings, and talk to men all day. And that just, I hope someone else understands that, because sometimes I felt so alone where I was like, gosh, if I want to be in business, I have to do all these things and like wear all these clothes that I don't want to wear. And being able to have this opportunity to work in influencer marketing has really allowed me to see, like, one, work with so many women in business. And like see all these women succeed and like see them grow a brand from like the ground up. And it's just so cool. Like,
it's so inspiring.
It's so inspiring. And it's so cool to be able to, like, some of these people truly started like with nothing. And just started all of this in their business on a limb. And it's just so cool to be a part of that and see that and live with that. So yeah, I think if you resonate with that and you want a creative job and you know you want to work in business but you don't want to wear a pantsuit, there's just so many other opportunities that you can do, you know? Maybe try
you can wear
influencer
sweats
marketing.
all day.
And you don't have to be an influencer to work in influencer marketing, which I really like. I think that's another thing people asked us, like, oh, do you want to be an influencer since you're starting this podcast? And for me, no. I like... No part of me, guys, it is hard for me to sit behind a mic where you cannot even see my face unless you're on YouTube. You think I can like do a mirror selfie? You know how hard it is for me to talk about myself? Oh my gosh.
You're doing good though.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I just think it's so important to talk more about women and dreams and men too. I mean, like, not a man hater or anything, but it's just such a unique thing to work in an industry with a bunch of women like succeeding.
It really is dominated by women. And I think if we have the opportunity to build each other up and inspire each other, why not run with that?
I agree.
The more people that talk about it, the more women that talk about it, I think the better, because you and I are so transparent about what we do. And I think the more that we can share that with people, hopefully the more that other women and girls will hear this and say, hey, I can do that. Or whatever it is that you want to go after, whether it's in a male-dominated field or not. I know it can be hard to play the comparison game and be looking at other women and think, oh, she has what I don't have, or, you know, whatever it is. But that's not true. Whatever it is that you have is just what you need to be successful.
Yeah, I totally agree. And if you are a girl and you want to work in that like corporate business suit office situation, please do that, because we need that. We do. I'm just not that girl.
Neither am I.
That. But if you are, I mean, please come have a conversation with us, because that'd be really cool.
Yeah, I would love to hear that side of it for sure.
That'd be cool. But yeah, that's a little bit of like how that went down. I guess I still didn't really explain the interview process. I interviewed with the influencer. We both clicked really well. We both had the same goals in mind. And after that first interview, I only had one interview, and then I was offered the position, and then I started 2 weeks later. And I really haven't looked back. I know. It was a really fast process. And kind of a weird process too, because it was at the very end of the year. It was November, which if you work in the industry, or even if you don't work in the industry, you know it's just a busy time of year. So I really kind of came in and ran with it. And
what a crazy time to get hired.
Oh my, Yeah, a really crazy time. And it was just so many unknowns. But
Yeah.
I mean, what can you do? You just got to keep
Totally.
moving forward. And that's what we did. And it's worked out so far.
Honestly, I kind of think just from the last few years of my experience, I think the best time to be hired is during a busy time. Because you kind of get thrown into it and you have nothing else to compare it to.
Yeah.
So you're just like, okay, like this is what it is. And you're at usually the most like excited and eager point of like, your journey in this new position. And so I think you're a little bit more willing to like just kind of dive in head first, really.
Yeah. And like I said, I thrive in chaos. So just seeing it and learning it from that perspective, which it was kind of nice. And then January, February, it slows down and you get to like really learn more. And it was thrilling. It was so fun. I mean, it's the worst and best time of year, really.
I still look forward to holiday. I love it so much. Like, for us, it started a lot earlier this year. But like October, November, December is just my favorite time of year every single year.
There's just so much going on.
How busy it is.
Yeah. I mean, and I think if you like that and you are willing to try to learn and put yourself out there and work really hard, you're going to enjoy it.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
But yeah, so Lyssa, do you want to share about how you got into it?
So I think my story is a like pretty huge 180 from yours. I'm going to go back a little bit farther. So I know I mentioned this in the last episode, but I was working in the fitness industry as a Pilates instructor and a studio manager at a Pilates studio and a cycling studio. So two different studios. And then I was working in marketing, just freelance, which that was a whole other thing. And then I was doing payroll for my dad's company. And so I really needed to like consolidate all of my jobs a little bit. I loved it. I do not thrive in chaos at all, but I like to stay busy. I like to stay busy and have a schedule. So every week I had a planner and I like time blocked my entire week out of like, okay, this is how long it's going to take me to drive to this job. This is how long this class is going to take. I have to do like these studio manager duties from this time to this time. And then from there, I have to go to, Starbucks and get some marketing work done or whatever it was. So my weeks were insane. I don't even know how many hours a week I was working. But I was able to stay on a really strict schedule, and I liked that. I knew what to expect. I knew what was coming, but I knew I couldn't continue that way forever. I really wanted to find a good, like, secure job working for either a good company or good people. I didn't really care. Prior to all of those jobs, I had a really shitty job with an accountant. I was an office manager there. After I left that, then I picked up all those other jobs, kind of switched industries, and I was just trying to figure out what I wanted to do. I didn't go to school. I was in school I wanted to become a dietitian. That was like my job that I dreamed of. And then I got sick, and then I didn't go back to school after I got sick. So when it was time for me to start interviewing for like a good full-time job, all I wanted were good people to work for. I didn't care what I was going to do. Like, none of that mattered to me. I just wanted to work for good people. And so I saw this listing come up on Indeed for a personal assistant for an influencer. And I know I said this, but I was really just nosy about who it was, about who was out here in like our small little town being an influencer. And so, it was duties that I could do, the tasks that were listed. A lot of it was not like your typical personal assistant, dry cleaning and coffee type stuff. It was a little bit more task and business oriented, which sounded like things that I could do from my history as an office manager and a studio manager. I like data and admin and stuff like that. And I had experience in that. So I applied, sent my resume in, and then we had an interview. And I don't remember, it was like 4 years ago now, and I don't remember the amount of time between each of these things. But we had a call to schedule the interview. We scheduled the interview, went to the interview. It was great. We hit it off immediately, and I had a good feeling about it, but I wasn't trying to get my hopes up. And I wanted to interview them just as much as they were interviewing me. So I asked a ton of questions. I was really just trying to like feel it out and see like what are their long-term goals, because my long-term goal is to be here as long as possible and to grow. You know, that was all I wanted. And so we hit it off, and then I don't remember how long it was, but we had like a part 2 of the interview where I did a couple personality tests, Enneagram tests, that kind of thing. And then I think I got a call, maybe, I don't know if it was fast or if it was long. It could have been like the next day, or it could have been a week later. I don't remember. But I ended up getting a call, and I was offered the position. And even until the moment I accepted, I was like, do I really want to do this? Like, is this going to consume my life? I didn't want to like jump into a personal assistant position, because usually those require you to like give everything you have. And I wasn't sure if I was like ready for that.
Yeah.
But I was like, you know what? I like them. And at the end of the day, that is what is important to me.
Yeah.
So I accepted the position, and I think it was like a month before I started, because I think they were going on vacation or something. They were traveling. I don't remember. But I didn't start for a whole month, which was perfect because I could, you know, wind everything down at my other jobs. And I actually kept my Pilates job and, of course, working for my dad for like a year, I think, after, because I got hired part-time.
Okay.
And so I got hired part-time, started, things went so amazingly. And like you, really quickly, I kind of bumped out of that personal assistant position. And it was really blurry, the lines. I don't think I got like a new job title for a long time.
Yeah.
But so we did that. And then a year later, after I was hired, then I went full-time, quit everything else. My sweet mom took over payroll for my dad's company. And Angel. I know, she's the best. And went full-time. Got my new job title then. So then I became official project manager, and then stayed full-time until the time that I left. So it was exactly what I needed to kind of shift the whole trajectory of my life. Like, I wanted a job, like I said, that I could work for somebody who like was like just good people. But I wanted to learn in an industry I could grow in. I did not know that was going to be the influencer marketing world. I think I just took to it. And a big part of, I think, succeeding in this industry, whether you're an influencer or on the other side of it like we are, is being willing to put in the work, being willing to put in time. And as much as I didn't at the beginning, I was afraid to kind of like give my everything to a job. I saw really quickly that was what I needed to get to where I wanted to get to in 10 years' time.
Yeah.
I wanted a different lifestyle than what my parents had or what everybody around me had. And I saw that in my job. I saw it with the people around us. And so I thought, okay, I can do this. I can do this now. I have the energy. I have like the mental capacity. I can do it to set myself up for where I want to be in the future. And so I did, and I still am. I'm still giving it everything I have, and I have fallen so in love with it. Like, I eat, sleep, breathe work, and I don't intend to always be that way. But I know there are tons of formulas for success, but for me, that's what I've seen works, and I'm happy doing it. I enjoy staying busy. I love all the different facets to it, especially now that I work with 5 different people. It's so exciting and so interesting to me. But that's kind of like how everything came together for me and like why I'm still excited about it.
Yeah, I like that you explained that you started off part-time, because I also started off part-time.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people that might be entering this role, they think, oh, it should be a full-time position. Why wouldn't it be a full-time position? And at the time, I think I kind of was like that too, where I was like, no, I just want to go full time. I want to keep working. I want to keep going. And now that I've been in the role for a year and a half, I see how important those first few months are.
Yeah.
Working with a new person, really. But it's just you're just so close. And if say someone hires you and it just doesn't work out, like that's a lot of money that person is investing in you for it not to work out. So I have to respect starting off part-time, and maybe that'll help someone else see, like, sometimes you just have to start off part-time, especially in a role like this. I mean, obviously, if you're working in, like, a completely different industry, maybe something more corporate, I would ask for full-time hours.
Yeah, full-time I think is normal.
When you're really starting off with, like, even a startup business, I think you have to kind of respect the amount of hours they're willing to give you. So I like that you mentioned that.
Yeah, I think it's important, too, because you said this, and it was true for me, too. We were kind of, like, creating these roles as we went. You know, we had a general breakdown from our employers, but if we could take on more, we could take on more. And then, you know, now that's part of your role. So the more that we were able to take on for both of us, that's how we grew our position. And that's how we were able to kind of, quote unquote, move up and turn our personal assistant entry position into something more. So I think starting out part-time, you're learning what you should be getting done. You're learning, of course, all the tasks that were given to you. And you're learning where you fit into this role within a unit that might already be established, a team that might already be established, and just even like kind of learning the personality of your influencer or employer.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's so important. I hope this helps someone. I hope we're one making sense. Sometimes when I talk, I'm like, am I making sense? Okay,
Makes sense to me.
You're making sense to me too. So
okay,
I hope this makes sense for everyone. Lyssa, thanks for sharing that.
Thank you for sharing your story.
Cool. I don't know why I said cool. I got nervous. We'll keep that in too because, you know, we are women in business, but we still mess up sometimes. Cool.
It's okay. Mistakes are great.
Well, I'm still so grateful that we're sitting behind these mics again and talking about this, and I hope it does resonate with people. And if it doesn't, like, maybe kindly tell us what else you want to listen to.
But no, don't tell us. You're here for what we're giving you. No,
we're really trying.
I think there's like okay, here's what I think. I think the influencer industry is going to change in the next year.
Yeah.
You heard it first. But what I really think is that, like, Renee and I want to be more transparent about what we do and kind of, like, open this door a little bit, because I think more and more people are, needing assistants and project managers and brand managers on their team internally versus hiring out. And I think, you know, you and I couldn't find any information about any of this. Yeah. So if we can be a place that you kind of land before venturing out looking for jobs or accepting a job, we would love to be that place for you, because I would have loved this myself. Yeah. Like, I would have loved it, like a tiny little sneak peek. At the end of the day, it's still your decision. But if we can offer any kind of insight to what we do, we're both so passionate about it. And I really think there's going to be a lot more opportunities for roles like ours in the next couple of years. Oh,
I know there will be.
Yeah.
I mean, even now, I feel like there are so many opportunities that on the agency side. I know there's so many agencies that are looking for people, but they just don't know how to share what they're looking for, or people are so nervous about what that job title means or what the job description means that they just are nervous to even apply. And I think that's really sad, especially if you want to work in some sort of creative industry. Mm-hmm. It's just such a cool opportunity, and it doesn't have to be forever. even though I believe like influencer marketing is just like the now.
Same. Yeah. I see no end to it.
I don't see an end either. And I think that's so exciting. And even like another dream I have is that one day, like when our kids go to college or I don't know, the neighbor down the street goes to college, if we have kids, there's an influencer marketing class. Like how cool would that be? That would be so cool.
And I definitely see that as the future of this.
Yeah. And I know there are a few colleges doing that right now. I have a friend that goes to Northwestern in Chicago, and they just created an influencer marketing class. And I was like, how do I get into that? Because I want to hear. I work in the industry, and I'm like, I want to hear what they are saying and like what they're teaching. And like, that's another reason why I think we started this, is because we're not claiming to know everything about the industry.
Oh, gosh, no.
And I think that's special. And I think it just shows that we want to have more conversations about it. And if you think you want to be involved in a conversation about it as well, like we would love to have guests and have them open up and share how they got into the industry or another topic that they're passionate about. And that's why we started this, I think, is more to build a community and just show how powerful conversation is. And that's truly why our friendship blossomed so much, is because we were both willing to have conversations. Yeah. But so that's what my hope and dream is with this podcast, is just more conversations, more people reaching out and stepping out of their comfort zone and sitting behind a mic and saying cool randomly because they don't know what else to say. Like, we're with you. We don't have it all figured out.
I wanted going back to really quickly what you said about Northwestern offering that class on influencer marketing. I just want to say, you don't even have to go to school. I have no degree, but I was willing to work hard and jump into this. And I think there's a huge space in this world for people without degrees.
I 100% agree with that. I totally agree. I think if you work hard really in anything, you're going to be able to succeed. And I think the past 10 years for us, especially graduating from high school, going to college, dropping out of college, doing that whole thing, and I guess that can be even another episode really, is we were just always told, like, oh, you have to have that piece of paper to get your foot in the door. And, like, to an extent, I see that.
Yeah.
But I think we're just, like, evolving. The world is just evolving into a place where you don't necessarily need it.
Totally.
And if you have it,
I think
great. But
it really just depends on your industry. And the reason I was willing to work and still am willing to work as hard as I do is because it's exciting to me. It's fun. I like this industry. I like that it's ever changing. So while you definitely don't have to have a degree, I wouldn't say get into a role or a position where you just want to work hard, but you're not necessarily interested in the work that you're doing or the industry, because I think that catches up with you and that leads to burnout a lot faster. I think you can absolutely experience burnout even if you love what you do, but it's going to happen a lot faster. And I think it's easier to become resentful towards your job if it's something that you're not truly passionate about.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that's kind of a good place to stop.
Yeah.
But if anyone has any more questions, or if they want us to dive a little deeper in anything that we talked about this time, shoot us a message we have an Instagram page at The Right Hand Gals, and we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.